our inclinations or the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. Now, this was a quote from one of our founding fathers, talking about the basis on which policies must be based, and that is facts. Now, in this speech, what I'm going to be doing is going over the facts of the situation. In other words, what the affirmative team has provided you with 1AC, and then addressing some alternative facts of the negative team. And I'm going to start off with actually the affirmative speaker's intro. Because what he said is that the government spending is hugely mind-boggling. And he gave you some big numbers to deal with. You know, $1 trillion for the bailout, and we have an over $12 trillion deficit. And as the negative team, we agree with this. What we do not agree is that cutting $1.2 billion a year is a significant way to deal with a $12 trillion budget. The numbers do not compare. In other words, we're not dealing with this mind-boggling world he gave you. We're dealing with a very small world of climate change aid, which the affirmative team has presented you with. Now, in judging this round, I would urge you to not simply look at just what they've told you, in other words, just the principles involved, but I would also urge you to look at the actual impacts. In other words, there's a reason financial fiscal responsibility is a good principle. It's because it has real-world implications, and that's what we as the negative team are going to be looking at, is the real-world implications of this case. Now, I'm going to start off with basically addressing the problems they've given you, because they've given you these 3 funds that we give money to, and said that they're all a problem. Now, under basically in debate theory, when you present a case and you present a harms case, you basically say you're going to solve the harms presented. So if in looking at these harms you decide that they are not significant problems and they're not as bad as the affirmative team said, or that they can't solve them, again, that means that this problem or this case is not justified. So let's start off with their estimates about the climate change aid, the CCA. Now, my partner was going after some cross-examination, and basically what we're talking about is looking beyond the table. In other words, in this report, the fiscal year 2008 annual performance report, there was indeed a table that rated the climate change aid as being 58% effective. Not 42% ineffective, but 58% effective. And then if you look at the link where it describes the methodology of the study and shows what is actually going on, it directs you to another web page showing what exactly that study is in further details. And in the U.S. climate change aid, this is another table, it says that the funding for fiscal year 2008, which was the year that this was completed in, was $0. In other words, $0 billions were spent on this if you go to the table. Now, yes, they rated it as adequate at 58%, but it's not getting any funding. So this is completely irrelevant if you follow the links and look at what this program is actually receiving. According to the White House government website, it is not receiving